Hi, Vintage Stereo Buff here. Today I want to show you something that's not really very vintage. This is a Lightning Audio 10-inch sub. It's kind of a budget Rockford Fosgate brand. I got it about 12 years ago at a Walmart for $35 because it was the only woofer that I could seem to find that fit in a box that I wanted to make that would fit behind my truck seat. And this woofer here, it says sealed box, a half a cubic foot. So it's only supposed to be used in a sealed box and not a base reflex. Plus the power handling on this woofer is 150 RMS, which is not quite as high as I'd like. 87 decibel sound pressure level, that's pretty good. It's okay for newer stuff. But the X max is only 3 millimeters. 33 hertz free air resonance. The main thing was that the power handling wasn't quite as much as I needed, and it's actually supposed to be in a half a cubic foot box. However, the box that I built for it originally, when I made the box, I didn't have the woofer. And I built the box actually as a kind of a hybrid so that I could use it as base reflex or as a sealed unit. As you can see on this side here, right here, there's a horn shaped port. There's one on both sides. It starts right here, and here you can see a little nail line here and here and here and here and here where it's nailed through the piece of wood that forms this port. It's about this big here, and it comes out here, and the same on this side. Now the internal volume of this entire box is 1.5 cubic feet, but these ports are taking up part of that. I imagine that this part in here is probably 1 cubic foot without the port. But I also made the box so that these little plugs could be put in on the side and sealed up, and then it could be used, just on both sides, and it could be used as a sealed box, a sealed 1.5 cubic foot box. The problem was with this, even with a 1.5 cubic foot sealed box, the box is 3 times as big as what this woofer is supposed to have. This is supposed to have 3 millimeters of X max. But this little Lightning Audio woofer is supposed to have 3 millimeters of X max. But when I would play it with my amps that are running around 300 watts, I would crank it up, I would sometimes see the little cone moving a good 3/4 of an inch peak to peak. It was just too much power for it. So I decided to get this new Rockford Fosgate Punch woofer. Now this one is designed for either a sealed box from 0.59 cubic foot. So actually this is still too big for that box too, or the box is too big for that woofer too in a sealed enclosure. The recommended sealed enclosure is 1/2 to 0.75 cubic feet. I didn't really want to use it at that. So, but for the ported enclosure, it can be right about 1.40 cubic foot, it says, for ported. So what I'm going to do, I just put it in there and using it ported like it is. But when I turn it up and play it with it like that, I seem to get a lot of port noise. When I mount and play it, the woofer works good, but I seem to get a lot of port noise from out of here. And I think it seems to sound better when I put these plugs in and seal it up. So I might run it that way. But either way, it will work either way. I'll turn it on and let you hear it. seems to me like I'm getting lots of port noise out of here. So I think that I'll just go ahead and seal it, or else try to find a way to modify these ports. As you can see, they go in there. Up at the top where they hit, they're this wide. Right here where my finger is, they're that wide, but they're only about 1 inch tall. And I think I need to either get inside somehow and open that port up bigger on the end to make it work correctly with this woofer. I'm going to have to do a little experimenting. And if that doesn't work out correctly, then I'll probably just seal the box. And then if I have to, work with stuffing it with something to take up a little volume if it's too much. Anyway, that's all I need to show you right now. Vintage stereo buff out. Well, I decided to take the woofer back out of the box and do a few modifications. It's a 1.5 cubic foot box. The Rockford woofer I'm putting in it wants 1.4 for a vented enclosure. And so what I did, I came over here to these little ports that I had built into it. I'm not going to use them. I drilled some big holes too here and up there to connect this volume in with the volume in here and over here too, so that it would all be connected. And I'm going to glue these plugs in here and turn this into, and seal these up with glue, and then I will have a 1.5 cubic foot box with these parts connected. And then I will go ahead and use a 4-inch port. That's what the woofer recommends, is a 4-inch port by 10 inches. So that's going to work out just fine. I got just the right legs to go between here and here. So things are going to work out okay, I guess. I'll be back when I get my port made. Well, I got my cabinet modified and I got my woofer put back in, the sub. Came over here and glued in this plug and caulked it to block this off on this side. I did the same thing on this side, so now it's all one large 1.5 cubic foot enclosure. And then here's my 4-inch port, 4-inch by 10 port. I got a little sloppy, got caulking and stuff all over the place, but you can probably tell by some of my videos I really don't give a shit about the aesthetics of it anyway. I'm more concerned about how it functions. It's behind the seat where I can never see it anyway. So I'll turn it on. As you can see, it works. It sounds good. And the port sounds good, except when I turn it too loud. Vintage stereo buff out.